Hi everyone, it's Sarah again for Mom Represent. Coming back to you with an update, an anxiety vlog update, because I realized it'd been a minute and it might be worth sharing with y'all the outcome or kind of a longer term outcome of my medication titration. So if you've watched the previous parts in the series, link below, in YouTube, you know, this summer I decided to try to reduce the dose of my anxiety medication. I went through the titration process with the 2 medicines that I take on a regular basis and went from 3 doses to 2 doses. And so when I last gave you an update, I had gotten to that new point and I was there. So what's happened since? Well, probably the biggest news is that I'm still there. So I wasn't sure if I would backslide. Not backslide, that makes it sound so negative. I didn't know if that was a dose that was going to be possible for me long term. And it turns out so far it is. And long term is a relative thing, but when I've tried medication before and it hasn't worked, it's been pretty clear. Sorry about the voice. Sorry about the hair. I just went to the gym and that actually matters for this story, so I'll talk about that in a minute. So I'm still on my same 2 doses a day, and I was actually feeling good enough this weekend that I thought, should I go down to 1 dose? And I thought, time out on that because more big changes are coming in life, hopefully in the near future. So we're gonna just keep it steady Eddie for now. So what's it been like on the new dose? Well, the biggest test for me was travel. So I mentioned that I travel a fair bit. I travel for work. That's actually where I am now. It's hotel room. I'm on the road for work now. Got in tonight actually. And that's a pretty normal trip when I travel for the company. Sometimes I go to other places, but it's mainly California. Pretty straightforward, not a big flight from Seattle, have my routine. So that was the first test to go through and that worked. So this is my second trip since the titration and fine, normal. The bigger trip, the bigger test was our vacation that we took a couple of weeks ago. My husband and I went to Germany for 2 weeks on vacation. Sehr gut. Had a lot of fun. We went to Munich and then to Nuremberg and Rothenburg, then to the Rhine. We stayed in this cute little town of Bacharach, and then down to Baden-Baden. We got the chance to do Neuschwanstein. We got to taste wine on the Rhine wine. Went to amazing castles. We went to this amazing outdoor museum in the Black Forest. We ate a lot of dessert, a lot of carbs, a lot of potatoes, and it was good, but it was different. And this is where I think I hesitate when I think about going down a dose again, which is I've noticed that I need to manage some things a little bit differently now that I'm taking less medication. Travel in itself isn't necessarily bad, but there's some other parts of it that are tricky. Traveling to Germany, that's a 9-hour time zone change. I'm getting better at adjusting to jet lag. I have my protocol. The first day or so is really not fun, but you just tough it out. But I just found myself a little antsy. And I realized one of the things I took away on this trip to Germany is I didn't do any traditional workouts. I did that in our trip earlier in the year. We went to Croatia, Slovenia, and the United Kingdom. And it's mainly to give my body a break. It's something that Kim, my trainer and friend, keeps telling me, Sarah, you need to take a break. You need to give your body a break, and I hate that. So it's hard to work out in Europe. It takes a lot more effort, and so I just do walking instead. So we walked a lot, especially the first half of the trip when we were in bigger cities. But in the smaller towns, you do some walking, but a lot of it's driving. So a big thing that was different was the exercise, and I didn't realize how much exercise was helping me with my anxiety, especially taking the dose away. So I definitely felt a little cagey. It's also a little bit different when you're in close quarters with somebody all the time. And I love my husband. He is my favorite person in the world. He's my best friend, and that's such a freaking cliche, but he is. I love this man. At the moment in my life when things were the worst, he stepped forward instead of stepping back. So he's my guy. But at home, we both have exciting careers. We have our own hobbies. we have a big house for a reason. That's because we're two introverts, and sometimes we just need to do our activity separately. So we're on top of each other the whole time because we're in Europe. These are small hotel rooms. You're eating all your meals together, and at some point, you're running out of things to talk about. So it was good, but it's a lot. And then the third thing of four things, the third thing was food. So food's very different. If you've been to Germany, you might know what I'm talking about. In a bigger city like Munich, completely fine. We had tons of options. In the little towns, not so much. And part of travel is experiencing the culture and trying what's there. Did not have the blood sausage though. I'll be honest with you, skipped on that one. But we don't normally eat bread. We're not a big bread family. We're not a big carb family. We generally do a lot of meat, like chicken, fish, and then vegetables. I had no avocado for 2 weeks. That's so West Coast, but that's me. So the diet was different. And the more that you learn about anxiety and diet, the gut is the second brain. The microbiome really does impact your anxiety. So that was the third difference. And the fourth difference is sleeping. So jet lag is one thing, but you're sleeping in different beds. We were in different hotels. They were all very nice. One challenge we found in Germany, the beds were super firm. Super firm. So I don't mind a firm bed, but as someone who generally is a side sleeper, at some point, wow, my shoulder actually hurts sleeping on my side. The other interesting thing is that for whatever reason in Germany in general and in lots of parts of Europe, they don't have top sheets. So if you're from Europe, you might wonder what's the big deal, but if you're in the States, you have the flat sheet on the bottom and then you have a sheet on top, and it's just the duvet cover, and that's wonderful, but it's 9 million degrees. So we know this, and our last trip, our first trip together to Austria, we took turns asking for flat sheets and trying to explain what a flat sheet was to hotels. And so then at some point we just sort of forget it and we packed our own sheets. And now when we go to Europe, we each take a top sheet. That's actually one of my best hacks for traveling, is just pack a sheet if you go into a place. It's not in the States, but in Europe, a lot of places it's useful. So a lot of things were different. My exercise was different. I was in close quarters with somebody all the time. My diet was different, and sleeping was different. And it was fine, but it certainly helped me understand a little bit more about what I was up against as far as managing without the medication. So what have I been thinking about since? So got back about 2.5 weeks ago, and as you can imagine, hit the exercise train pretty hard. I've been working really hard to decouple exercise and weight in my mind, because that's been linked in my head. Eat something that's bad and you need to go and work it off. But you can't outrun a bad diet. So I'm working on making healthier choices. Mainly it's eating more salads. And as long as I have tasty dressing, I can eat a lot of salad. So I'm doing that and just trying to move more. So even if it's not full on cardio, just walking or doing something like that during the day. Unfortunately, on a busy day, I might be in and out of meetings for 7 or 8 hours. And my only exercise is walking between conference rooms, and that's just really not sustainable. So when I can, I'm looking ahead in my calendar and at least finding 30 minutes a day that I can block off outside of lunch to take a walk. That's been helpful. Actually, the reason my hair's all wonky is that I've tracked my steps with my Fitbit, and today was the only day this week that I hadn't hit 10,000, which makes sense because I was flying. So I decided just to go walk on the treadmill, and I'm binge watching The Crown season 3 obs. So I just walked until I hit my 10,000. So I'm super excited because I actually hit it every day this week, and today was a rest day, but it was a 35-minute walk. So that was actually pretty easy. So I've been working on that. I've also been thinking a lot about sleep and about diet, and this is a question for you all. The medication series is probably going to be taking a long pause, or there might be really a long time before I update. Maybe if I change my medication. I'm not due to see my psychiatrist for a few months. When I see him, I'll give him an update, and this might be an opportunity to try a different medication. Since I got Enfetzima, there's some new SNRIs, so it's possible that one of those would work better for me. The newer medications have fewer side effects. So I don't know. What I'm trying to say is that there's other components of anxiety that could be interesting to blog about that I've struggled with. So I think about the things that impact it. So we've got just the anxiety itself, and then we have diet, and then we have sleep. So in addition to struggling with generalized anxiety disorder, I have irritable bowel syndrome, IBS. This is not a fun thing to talk about at all, but the gut and the brain are so intertwined. And I found by changing my diet that I feel a lot better. And when I'm anxious, my gut is anxious. And if my gut doesn't feel good, it goes to my head. So that's one thing I could talk about is, just what it's like to manage that, to live with that. Because people don't talk about it, but it's a thing. And it's especially difficult when you travel all the time to manage that. And the second is sleep. So I have insomnia. It waxes and wanes. If you watch my first vlog, you saw that I have medication that I take at times. I've gone through cognitive behavioral therapy. So I'm happy to talk more about what it's like with the insomnia, things that I've tried. And sleep is an interesting thing. I think this last year or two is the first time I've really noticed some changes in my body. I just turned 36 last week. Woohoo! Past the mid-30s. And the metabolism thing is real. It hits a wall, so boo to that. And the other thing is my sleep is starting to change, so there's that. The last thing that I'm considered vlogging about is parenting. Do you have kids? No, I don't have kids. Obviously, cat mom AF. But that's something that my husband and I are hoping to start the process of. We have chosen to build our family through adoption, and this is actually really intertwined with my anxiety. Obviously, both people have to flip the bit to go forward with this plan. But I knew several years ago that that's, if we were going to have children, that I would not carry a child, that we would go that direction. So talking about mental illness and the way that I'm thinking about parenting, I think that could be interesting, because if small humans do arrive in 2020, which is the hope, then watching my thoughts evolve could be interesting. So hit me up in the comments if you want to learn about anxiety and gut challenges, if you want to learn about anxiety and insomnia, or if you want to learn a perspective about anxiety and children. That's it. I hope you'll have a good week. I'm hoping to have a good week in California, a little break from the rain for a few days before going home, and then really looking forward to Thanksgiving next week. So thanks for watching, y'all, and have a good night or day.